Sonic vs. Mario, the Blue Blur vs. the Italian Plumber, Sega's Money Train vs. Nintendo's iconic mascot. Who will win? Tell us your pick in those comments below with either #Mario or #Sonic. Hey everybody, welcome back to Top 10 Gaming. Today we're jumping into a slightly different style of video on the channel, similar to the Versus series that we do over on our sister channel Top 10 Nerd. Essentially, we take your favorite video game characters and pin them against one another in a hypothetical battle, and speculate who would come out on top. Today we're looking at Mario and Sonic, two classic important figures in contemporary video games who both have a history that paved the way for not only the platformer genre, but for flagship heroes in general. We won't just be talking about the franchises as a whole though. We actually already have two separate videos on our channel on why Sonic is better than Mario and why Mario is better than Sonic, if you'd like to see the counter arguments. For this video, we'll be accounting multiple factors: the characters' skills, the quality of their games, and how they would fare in a fight against one another, in just a one-on-one brawl. So with all that in mind, let's jump in. Starting off with a brief history of both these characters. Mario debuted in 1981, but under a different name, Jumpman, in the Donkey Kong arcade game. He was a carpenter who mistreated Donkey Kong, resulting in DK kidnapping his girlfriend, who was initially known as Lady but was later renamed to Pauline. In 1982, the character reappeared in Donkey Kong Jr., the follow-up game, but this time had the name Mario. And a year later, he got his own arcade game, Mario Bros., where he and his younger brother Luigi had to defeat creatures coming up from the sewers beneath New York City, a concept which they later made into a movie. In that game though, both Mario and Luigi were depicted as Italian-American plumbers. Eventually this translated into the Super Mario Bros. Game for the NES, but the plot changed again. Mario had to save Princess Toadstool, who would later be known as Peach, from King Koopa by conquering the 8 worlds of the Mushroom Kingdom. This started a legacy of video games that is still prevalent today. If the recent Mario Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch was any indicator, fans of Mario are here to stay. So how about Sonic? Well, the Blue Hedgehog was created in 1991 to directly compete with Mario. Sega held an internal contest at the Sega Technical Institute for a new mascot to replace their old and outdated one, Alex Kidd. From this contest, both Sonic and Robotnik were born, with Sonic becoming the company's new face. The first several Sonic games, platformers for the Sega Genesis, but were ported to other consoles, were mega hits, with many fans of the Hedgehog still standing by Sonic 2 and Sonic 3 and Knuckles as some of the best platform games in the industry. The years have not been as kind to Sonic as they have to Mario though. Sega has dropped the ball quite a bit, especially regarding the introduction to 3D games in Sonic's franchise. Because Sega's systems like the Saturn weren't able to compete with the likes of Sony's PlayStation or Nintendo's innovations, Sega started having to rely on Sonic War and his fanbase to bring in the big bucks, which resulted in a lot of resentment at the company, or allegedly it did. The rumor mill is still ripe with talk about Sega employees, current and ex-ones, strongly disliking working on the games. Many of the Sonic games feel underdeveloped, and recently the only game to have major critical and commercial success is Sonic Mania, a remix take on the original platform Sonic Genesis games, developed by a fan of the series rather than Sega itself. Alright, moving on to skills. Mario has typically relied on a plethora of power-ups in his games in order to give him special abilities. This includes the likes of increasing and decreasing his size, shell transformations, an increase in speed, invulnerability, and much more. His transformations are fairly vast, with perhaps the most famous one being Rainbow Mario, giving him total invincibility. But without power-ups, all he is really capable of doing is running, jumping, and technically problem solving. Out of those, the two latter skills are the most valuable assets of his. He jumps on enemies to knock them out of his way, and his problem solving, or rather the player's ability to problem solve, is how he navigates through most of his 3D games. But now enter Mario Odyssey. Mario acquired a new trick in the form of Cappy, his hat. Cappy has an ability called Capture. It allows Cappy to possess objects and enemies, which Mario can then control in order to progress in the game. This ability really ups the game for our favorite plumber, and perhaps may even give him an advantage against Sega's Hedgehog. Sonic, on the other hand, does one thing really well. He's fast, incredibly so, and every other move that he's ever pulled for the most part has been based off of his speed. All of his offensive and defensive maneuvers are speed driven, and while in the past he's pulled tricks like transforming into a werehog, we're not going to consider that as one of his moves. Trust us, his speed alone gives him an epic battle advantage. In addition to that, once he's collected all the Chaos Emeralds, he can transform into Super Sonic, and that form is pretty much the trump card of all trump cards as far as the Mobius universe is concerned. Moving on to the quality of games. If our history lesson on both of these characters didn't make it obvious, Sega has had a real tough time when it comes to making quality Sonic games. Now don't get us wrong, every now and then Sega manages to pull one off, like Sonic Generations, but the highs are nothing compared to the lows. Titles like Sonic 06, meant to revitalize the series, nosedived, for many a reason, which include poor level design, terrible writing, unresponsive controls, terrible camera movement, underdeveloped gameplay mechanics, and tons of glitches and and bugs that were never smoothed out prior to many Sonic game releases. Doesn't seem fair to do that to such a loyal fanbase, does it? Nintendo, on the other hand, are known for being incredibly meticulous. They take much longer to release a game than Sega does, but this pays off in the long run. Not only has it added to their credibility as a company, but it keeps fans happy. No one wants to spend a ton of cash on a game just to have to deal with glitches on glitches on glitches. Mario games, minus a few titles, are generally always well received, commercially and critically, and Sega has actually been criticized in the past for borrowing ideas concerning gameplay mechanics from Mario games. So, of course, Mario takes the cake for this one. While it doesn't really do much in terms of the two physically bashing each other in, it does say a lot about the conflict between Mario and Sonic fans. Imagine if Sonic was a Nintendo property. He'd probably be treated right. Now on to the fight. Now, we're not going to be going by Super Smash Bros. Stats here. Those are arguably biased towards Mario since it's Nintendo territory. And let's assume that neither have had the privilege of having the kinds of resources that make them stacked in their own worlds. No power-ups just lying around, and no Chaos Emeralds. Just these two at their base levels, duking it out. Quite frankly, unless Mario had a power-up lying around, he wouldn't be able to catch up to Sonic at all. And who's to say that a power-up would even match Sonic's speed? But that being said, Cappy is Mario's saving grace. If he's able to somehow get it onto Sonic, it's game over for the Hedgehog. He'd be entirely under Mario's control and the fight would be over. And the winner? Well, in a physical fight prior to Mario Odyssey, Sonic would surely win. Sonic's innate skills outweigh Mario's, despite the plumber's ingenuity. Post-Mario Odyssey though, Mario's Cappy gives us the character way more potential. Throw Cappy on a T-Rex and Sonic is toast. Get Cappy on Sonic and game over. All that being said though, the use of Cappy is pretty circumstantial. If the two were fighting within a barren landscape, Mario would be pretty screwed, whereas Sonic can rely on his speed and powerful speed-driven attacks. If for whatever reason all of the Chaos Emeralds are kicking around, Sonic could go into Supersonic mode, and then kick some serious plumber butt. Either way, really hard for Mario to catch up, but hey, at least Mario has better well-made games. I think that may console him enough. Alright, there we have it friends, what do you guys think? Is Mario the rightful winner of this match, or did Sonic deserve this win? Cause he sure as hell doesn't get many wins when it comes to Sega developed games, does he? Give us a shout with all of your thoughts in the comments below. And before you go, please make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons if you dug this video. And be sure to take a look at the playlist currently flashing on your screen for more great videos from Top 10 Gaming. Thanks for watching everybody, I'll catch you all in the next one.